So you chose Hong Kong, obviously for various reasons we talked about a little bit before, but so you just, was it really as simple as you applying and them accepting, or was it them asking you to come? Like, how did that process work out?
You know, it's I suppose it was a little bit of both. And, you know, it was some interest on both sides. And, you know, I was very interested, but it also was not an easy decision. It wasn't a case of, yes, right, let's go. It took a while. But also, I suppose, I must say, you know, once I'd made it, it did feel right.
Right.
And I haven't had a moment where I thought, you know,
oh wow, questioned
what
it in
I,
any
you know,
way.
what have I done here?
Right.
And that still very much remains today. And albeit it's a, you know, we're under a year since I made that call, and hopefully there's a, you know, a fairly long journey ahead. But you know, it certainly feels right now.
It's fantastic. That's awesome. So you have a full stable, I'm assuming?
Yeah, pretty much. Which is fantastic.
Which filled up pretty fast, actually.
Which is, you know, I'm very grateful for, and support has been good.
Yeah.
But, you know, day one is daunting. You show it around a barn and it feels very empty when it's empty.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a bit scary, actually. Like, how am I going to fill these spaces, right?
And also, I come from having 600 horses.
600, did you say?
Well, yeah, probably not in work all the time, but probably half of that in work.
Yeah.
So it's constant decision making. You know, it's fast, it's frenetic. It is now. I have that now, but you know, when I got here, it was a different sort of work and graft. You know, you got to establish yourself. You start from zero here, and in every facet, you know, I think there's a certain amount of respect for someone who is granted a license here from the owners. But at the same time, you still are the only person here who has never trained a winner in Hong Kong, and it's a different place to train. So those
first few days, few weeks of racing, you know, you were really sort of sussing things out, and you go racing, and you were very, very careful where you placed your horses, when you ran your horses.
Yeah.
And I think that was really smart, because a lot of people don't do that. You know, they sort of want to just get that first winner in.
Yeah.
And I think that the way that you went about that was a good thing. Really,
yeah.
At the end of the day.
I was certainly keen to take my time. For a number of reasons, really. The horses that I'd taken over had been in work all year, so I wanted to give them a break. Obviously, I wanted to sort of study the racing and how the racing was really ran, and you know, certain jockeys that I think would suit the horses that I had. And yeah, I was very keen to, when they ran, for them to be well placed and ready, because you know, I'd got seeked a lot of advice from other trainers and people within the industry here, and they did say, if you make a strong start and a good impression with a few winners, your stable, you know, it's likely to fill up quite quickly. You know, and thankfully it has.
It's incredible. So talk about you as a young lad now. I mean, you talked about when you came here when you were 19, I believe you said.
Yeah.
So when you were young, was horse racing always something you wanted? I know your parents were kind of hoping you'd probably go in a different direction. But you as a little boy, is that something you always dreamed of? Like, it's...
Yeah, honestly, yes. You know, it wasn't anything else. I loved, you know, we both loved being in the stable. We used to ride a pony out with the horses every morning when we were just about big enough. We rode race horses and used to get ran off with every morning.
Oh, that's incredible.
But it was very good character building. I mean, Dad was reasonably careful, but knew that it would sort of toughen us up a bit as well. And yeah, I mean, we both sort of flirted with uni, but didn't really.
No.
And I mean, I really wanted to be a jockey, but and spent most afternoons sort of riding finishes on the back of the sofa.
Oh, really?
But I was not good enough, frankly. No. I was never going to be light enough to be a flat jockey, but I didn't have the ability anyway. But I loved both flat and jumps, but it was probably always going to be flat. But we both rode in amateur races to a very low level. So we've ended up doing the same thing, took slightly different paths, but both of us have done the same thing, travelled abroad, worked for trainers around the world. Harry worked in Australia and America for great trainers, and we've both been fortunate in that way to learn off the best.
That's great. And your brother is where now?
Harry arrives tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So he's training in Newmarket. He's got a horse running in the mile, the international
fantastic.
race. Yeah, so Docklands raced in Australia, ran fifth in the Cox Plate and the 2,000 metre race, but he's dropping back to a mile,
Wow.
which is where his best form is.
Oh, perfect.
And I think with his best form, give him a shake. So it's a great week for us.
It's
We've got
fantastic.
a lot
Your
of friends
family's here.
Mum and Dad have
friends.
arrived, and cousins arriving tomorrow as well. So
Full house.
Yeah, it's a full. It is a
That's
full house.
really,
Yeah.
and it's such a great week to be here. The weather's been perfect.
It has.
Right, family. You guys seem to be a very close family.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you're single, I hear. I've heard all kinds of things about the young,
That's right.
good-looking single guy
Yeah.
that's now in Hong Kong. So for all the lovely lady owners that have asked me about, you just wanted to clarify that he is single still.
Yeah.
So
Plenty of other things to
yeah,
focus on.
yeah,
but
absolutely.